So Maneater, the new shark action RPG developed by Tripwire, the developers of the Killing Floor series, gives us a chance to play as a shark in the open world. So in this Maneater review, I'm going to go over all the different features of Maneater, going to answer the frequently asked questions about the game, and at the end of the review, I'm going to give you my opinion about my experiences with Maneater and whether or not this is a game you should pick up. Hey guys, this is Chris with B&B Gaming. Welcome back, and I hope you're doing amazing today. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel, and if you're looking for more Maneater content, consider hitting that subscribe button. Now to start with guys, your first question probably is, what exactly is Maneater? So in Maneater, you play as a shark bent on revenge. You start out as a baby shark and have to crunch and munch on both wildlife and people life, while avoiding being eaten yourself. So as you feed, complete missions, defeat other predators, including bosses, you'll both grow in size, going through 5 distinct life stages, and also unlock new abilities for your shark. As far as gameplay in Maneater, you're probably wondering what exactly does it play like? What are the mechanics in this game? So Maneater itself takes inspiration from Dark Souls, in that combat is dependent upon timing, so dodging at the right time and attacking at the right time. So just like in Dark Souls, and I'm not saying this is Dark Souls because it's, I would say maybe Dark Souls light, so it's not super complex, but there are mechanics in here that if you do get good at them, you can kind of cheat the system a little bit. Well anyways, in Maneaters, just like Dark Souls, each predator does have slightly different attack patterns that you're going to have to learn, and once you learn them, you're going to be able to take advantage of. So in combat in Maneater, your level, or the player level, and the predator's level play a key role, and actually in a way there's almost 2 different games here. So if your player shark is the same level or higher than what you're fighting, you'll do more damage and be able to take more damage, which will allow you more margin for error. And if you're much higher level, so say they're level 5 and you're 20, it's going to open up even more devastating moves that you're going to be able to do against your prey. Now on the other hand, if your opponent is higher level than you, it's going to do more damage and take more damage. So it is possible to defeat creatures that are much higher level than you, say you're level 5 and they're like level 15, but the margin for error is very small, so more than likely you're going to die in 1 or 2 hits. Now again, if you're really good and you can dodge all their attacks, you can take down anything in the game. So as you progress through Maneater, you're going to unlock new powers and upgrades that are going to give you more advantages in combat, and again are going to give you more margin for error. Now because of this system, one of the more satisfying things about Maneater is that you can freely travel to any of the 7 regions in the game once you unlock them. So later on, say you're a level 15 shark, you can go back and stomp on those pesky level 10 alligators that tormented you at the beginning of the game. Now another aspect of Maneater is its progression. So in Maneater, your shark will move through 5 distinct life stages: pup, teen, adult, elder, and mega. Now with each one of these life stages, your shark is going to get bigger, faster, and nastier. Now along with moving through these different life stages, you're also going to be gaining raw materials or currencies such as fats, proteins, etc. by consuming wildlife and people life, by completing missions, side missions, and by finding caches around the different regions. So with these materials or currencies, you're going to be able to upgrade your shark with different abilities such as sonar, your bite damage, your tail whip ability, etc. Along with this, you're also going to unlock new abilities, including armor sets by completing different story elements, completing collectible missions, and of course by defeating apex predators. So as far as the open world in Maneater, it's broken up into 7 distinct regions. So you have the shallow waters of Fawtick Bayou all the way to the deep waters of the Gulf Coast. So each one of these regions has progressively bigger and nastier predators and bounty hunters to deal with. Now you're probably wondering, are you stuck in each one of these regions until you complete it? The nice thing about Maneater is that once you're a teen, so the second life stage, all 7 regions are going to be available to you. Now there is a caveat to this that each one of these regions is going to have higher and higher tier predators and bounty hunters for you to deal with. Now of course if you want to, you can follow the storyline and it's going to move you from region to region as you progress. However, you can again move to any region you choose to. For example, in my playthrough, I went ahead and unlocked all the regions because I wanted to get a certain collectible which unlocked the shadow armor. In this next part, I'm going to go ahead and answer all the frequently asked questions about Maneater. The first question you probably have is what platforms is it available for? So Maneater is on Xbox One, PS4, it's also on PC via the Epic Game Store, and it actually is an Epic Game Store exclusive for 1 year. Anyways, it's a 1 year exclusive, so I would fully expect it to be coming to Steam next year, in mid-May. Now, along with that, they've also announced that there is a Switch version of Maneater that is scheduled to come out later in 2020. Now, along with this, they also have confirmed that they are doing an upgrade for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Now, they haven't said exactly what's going to be in the update, but they have said we're going to be very happy. Another question I get quite a bit is, does Maneater have multiplayer or crossplay? And unfortunately, it doesn't have either. So it doesn't have crossplay, nor does it have multiplayer. Maneater itself is a single player experience, and they said they designed it from the ground up to be so. Now they are working on DLC for Maneater, but multiplayer itself would be something that would be part of a Maneater 2. However, they have said never say never, so Maneater does really well, and a lot of people want multiplayer for Maneater. It's something they would look at. Another question you might be wondering is, does Maneater have loot boxes or microtransactions or generally shady monetization practices? And I'm very happy to say that it does not have any loot boxes or microtransactions. Another question you might be wondering is about DLC for Maneater. So as of this recording, July 17th, 2020, they're still prototyping different ideas, but they have said they have more Maneater coming. Another question you're probably wondering is, how many hours of gameplay are you going to get from Maneater? So some players have reported they've 100% completed the game in 9 hours. Now me personally, it took me around 20 hours to finish the whole thing, but I took my time, and to be honest, it took me a while to get the combat down to the point where I could take on predators that are higher level than me without dying. Now you're probably wondering, why is there such a huge variation in gameplay time here? And honestly, it boils down to how the difficulty works in Maneater. As I talked about earlier, in Maneater, your level and your opponent's level makes a huge difference. Again, if you're equal to or higher level than they are, it's going to be a lot easier, and there's going to be a lot more margin of error to what you can do. On the flip side of that, if you're a lower level, it's going to be a lot more challenging to take on these higher level predators, but you're also going to be rewarded handsomely for doing it. It's all about how far you want to push yourself in this game. Now in this part of my Maneater review, I'm going to give you my opinions about different aspects of the game, but I want you to take it with a grain of salt because I view video games like ice cream. Some people like chocolate, some people like strawberries, some people like vanilla. It doesn't mean anybody's wrong, it just means we like different things. So I played Maneater on Xbox One X, and overall it was a smooth experience, though to be honest, I played it at launch and it shut down my Xbox One X every 30 minutes, but they have patched it since. In terms of graphics, the color palette in my opinion is inconsistent. So at times Maneater looks almost picturesque, just beautiful. Other times it looks really good, looks really gritty, like in my opinion a horror game should. But then there's other times that in my opinion it looks cartoony, and for me this broke immersion. As far as sound goes, overall the sound design is solid. You can pick up the direction of enemy attacks fairly well, and the background sound, and honestly it's more like ambient sound, is fantastic. It sounds like a shark movie. It's really good. As far as controls go, I was using an Xbox Elite 2 controller, and overall the controls are fairly tight. Controlling your shark is going to take a bit to get used to because you have momentum when you're swimming, so sometimes it feels like you don't turn quite as fast as you think you should. But again, you are a shark, you're not a, like a homing missile or anything. And like I said, you do get used to it, so eventually you can be fast and ferocious and nasty. And speaking of this, I think overall they nailed the feel, the mass, the speed, and power of a shark. Now, I do have two things I wish they would improve. The first thing is, when you look behind yourself, so you're being chased by a giant alligator or sperm whale or whatever, and you look behind yourself, it inverts the controls. And I know at the beginning of the game this really frustrated me because I'd keep resurfacing, and when you're in Phatic Bayou, the water is really shallow and you're trying to like run away from these alligators. I kept resurfacing. Really annoying. So I wish they would either give us an option for this or change this. The second thing I'd like them to improve is the lock-on feature. Personally, I found it really inconsistent. I know there are multiple times when I'm fighting a predator, for whatever reason lock-on pops off, and then I try to relock again, and it will lock on like a random prey fish, swimming by, or another predator. It's something I think they need to improve. As far as combat in Maneater, I found it to be very rewarding. Beating a predator that is higher level than you, or fighting multiple enemies in a scrum, can be incredibly rewarding. Here's a pro tip, and it took me a while to kind of pick this up. The game tells you to do this, but I evidently didn't notice it. The tail whip ability is a fundamental combat skill in Maneater, so you're going to want to use it all the time. So I would say it's kind of like the double barrel shotgun in Doom Eternal, so you're always going to want to use this. Now back to combat in Maneater, and I talked about this earlier, but in a way it's almost like this is two different games. So again, if you're a lower level than predators you're fighting, it can feel a little Souls-like, where combat is sweaty and even the smallest mistake can cost you dearly. Now on the other hand, when you're a higher level than your opponents, not only can you do more damage and take more damage, but you can also do more devastating moves that allows you to stomp on them. So it actually can be really rewarding going back and stomping predators that tormented you when you were smaller than them. However, for me, this was a double-edged sword, because this actually fell apart for me once I reached full size or became the Mega Shark, because basically I could thrash pretty much everything in the game, and actually the final Apex Predator and boss fight were fun, but because I was so OP basically, there wasn't much challenge with them. So overall with Maneater, I had a lot of fun with this game. The experience of playing as a shark feels fresh and new. The game itself, the missions, the side missions, upgrading new skills, armor, etc. are all pretty basic, but they're highly polished. So you can tell Tripwire did a lot of playtesting with this game to make sure that it felt really good, and I think they nailed that. Now finally, would I recommend picking up Maneater? I actually would recommend picking this game up. I think it's a fun, unique experience that is pretty basic again, but also highly polished in what it's trying to do.